literally limited by my imagination right now. We can do whatever the hell I come up with.
Except for maybe fixing Fight Pass. Hey everyone, what's going on? How you all holding up? I hope everything is good for you out there. So yeah, the UFC Fight Pass changed their whole platform around 4 to 5 months ago. And for those who are unaware, UFC Fight Pass is kind of like the Netflix for UFC. It's got all their fights, all their TV shows, other organizations' fights, and any other random fight-related content on there. And about 4 to 5 months ago, in December 2019, they updated their platform, and it's been a pretty big step backwards. Now, I actually have a theory about all this, but I'm going to save that for the end of the video, so stick around to see that. Now, before I open the floodgates of unsolicited advice, I just want to explain that I'm a huge UFC fan, and have been subscribed to Fight Pass for many years now. I've seen every Ultimate Fighter season, yes, even the weird Brazilian ones, and that one Australian one that we got. I'll even chuck on Cage Warriors, Polaris, AFC, the Alaskan one, Island Fights, Old Pride. These aren't just names to me, it's actually the stuff that I watch regularly. So I'm not trying to flex, I'm just trying to say that I've been here for a while and I've got a reasonably good idea of how people want to watch this shit. Now, I made an earlier video because I was so stumped on what was going on, and it actually turns out that a lot of people had the same thoughts as me. My biggest takeaway from that video was, well, maybe the UFC rushed things and they're going to fix this stuff with time. But not much has been fixed. Now, I'll take a sec here to mention that I do work in IT and I've dealt with rolling out apps and platforms before, so maybe I'm just hyper aware with some of this stuff in the new Fight Pass. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Alright, just like my last video, here's Fight Pass. Let's go through a few of the things that are super frustrating. So I reckon there's like 4 ways that people want to browse content on Fight Pass. The first one is you might just want to chuck on some Fight Pass. You don't really care what it's on, just have it going on in the background. There's, who knows what you got a gathering, you want to watch some fights. Now, they've added these live channels and they're actually pretty cool. I'll give them credit for this. Sometimes they have multiple live channels running, but this is actually a really good addition. I wish they had a few more. Most of the time it's just one. Beggars can't be choosers. It's a pretty good feature that they've added. Now, the next thing you might want to do is you might just want to find some content. So you have no idea what you want to watch. You're here on the homepage, you go down, Submission Underground, Titan FC. They've just added some Kung Fu, karate movies, best comebacks. They make a lot of playlists. They show you a bunch of content. So for like random discovery, I think they actually do a pretty decent job. You can also go into the fight library, browse things by year, see the most recent fights that have happened. I don't think this is too bad. I mean, I think this is something that will always be worked on, but for general like navigating and browsing on a computer, things aren't too bad. Now, for me personally, these next 2 things are 95% the way that I want to watch Fight Pass, and they are by far the worst with this update. So let's say there's an upcoming fight, or there's some news that has just dropped. Justin Gaethje was just in the news. Okay, great, let's go watch all of Justin Gaethje's latest videos. So I'll go to the search Gaethje, and so live and upcoming, cool. Bookmark that, pay for that, whatever you want to do. The next search result is videos, and this is like the worst search. I don't even know what's going on here. It's like trying to do this intelligent search. I mean, I know what's going on. It's picking up like any partial match with Gaethje, and you can see here, I type in Gaethje, I'm getting like 1,400 results. It's just stuffed in every manner. In every search result you can do, videos under search is completely stuffed. You know what, I'll be fair, let's do a full Justin Gaethje search. So there's more results, but they're not in any sensical order, like 2018, 2017, okay, 2018 again, 2019. Why wouldn't this be first? They should really just do it in order of newest to oldest. That is by far the most sensical way that this would work, and I know that the UFC knows this is how it should work, and I'll show you that in a minute. But these search results should just be newest to oldest. That would make the most sense. Now, I really don't want to harp on about the old Fight Pass because that's completely gone. We have to move with the future. But what I used to do is I used to go to the athlete page. So here I'll go to lightweight, we'll take a look at Gaethje. So we'll just go to the athlete page, and here you could watch all their fights. And that was such a simple system. You go to the fighters page, you check out their resume, simple system. So I come here, see his wins, losses, all the stats, very handy. For some reason, it's only showing you 3 results, and there's no links to the fights. This page used to be super powerful, super helpful, and now it's just, you've got no reason to go here. It's like, If they lengthened out these results and they added links to the events, this would probably cure most of my woes. Now, we all know MMA records. He's got 21 wins, 2 losses. Most of those wins aren't in the UFC. That's fine. Just show me the full history. If you have links to his content, chuck it up there. If you don't, you don't. You know, what's happening now is I have to go to Wikipedia, see where he's fought, then like manually search things. You shouldn't have to do it. It's a premium service. We all pay for it. It should be laid out super easy here. So what I've noticed the UFC's done, so if we do the same Justin Gaethje search, we go down, I see for a lot of the fighters they've made these playlists, and when I go into the, this is so fucking annoying as well. See, like, when I go into the playlist, look at these search results, newest to oldest. Who would have guessed that this is how somebody would want to watch fights? This is the search results that we need on the main page. It's like they've recognized that their system isn't doing what is so standard, and what it used to do before is they've gone, you know what, we'll just make all these manual playlists. So this is pretty much how I want to view fights a lot of the time, and it's somewhat handy that they've made playlists for this stuff, but we're seeing here that they're acknowledging that their system is fundamentally broken, and the only way they can fix it for the meantime is with these playlists. Once again, it really begs the question, how did this stuff even get rolled out? Alright, the last way that I want to view content is by pay-per-view. So I'll just search for like, say UFC 229, classic pay-per-view. You know, once again, these videos, just so random, 81 videos. There definitely wasn't 81 fights in 229. I think it's like 229 and all the associated content, so all the stuff leading up to it. So when we go into 229, we've got 3 files. It's just like 3 files on a computer. The early prelims, the prelims, and then the main event. So if we can see they're like 2-3 hour files. If I go into the prelims, I would expect to see all the fights up here, and then these bullet points where I can jump to the fights. But here they're just linking you to like the other file, and you can't easily see in an event who's fighting. At the very least, you have these bullet points, so you're not just like skimming through. Like exactly that. You're skimming through and you see someone's hand get raised, you're like, fuck, that's so fucking frustrating. But yeah, so you've got these bullet points, you can skip through the fights, and that's pretty much how you have to see who's fighting in a pay-per-view now. Isn't that crazy? That's just, to me, that is absolutely insane that a sporting company, the UFC, when you click on an event, you can't even see who's fighting in it. You literally cannot see who's fighting unless you click on every single bullet point and see who's fighting. Why wouldn't you have a playlist down the right hand side here of all of the fights inside the thing I've already clicked on? Now here's where things take a turn for the worst. I was watching all the old UFCs in order of year, so I'm just going to skim back a while. Let's go 2010. Just click on a random pay-per-view. This one, cool. Let's see who's fighting on this event. Wow, we have no idea because there's some random files that it's linked to on the right hand side. And look at this, the old ones don't even have the bullet points, so I can't even hover on a section and see where the fights start. So I'll skim through a pay-per-view, and most of the times when I click on something, you're just seeing someone's hand get raised, and yeah, it's just so annoying. Like, they need to at least go through and put bullet points into all the old stuff. I know it's a lot of man hours, but $4 billion, massive company. This is by far the worst thing about Fight Pass at the moment. So like I said in the beginning of the video, this is one of the things that when I first saw the Fight Pass update, I was like, this has to be something temporary, because they've gone a major step backwards. Before, you could see all the fights, you could skip to the fight straight away. I used to open up an event. If I didn't like any of the fights, I would go to the next event. Maybe I like whatever, 5-6 of those fights. I would just skim through all of the fights, I'd watch all of them, and that's how I would go event to event. Now it's just like one file. I have no idea who's fighting. I have to skim through this whole thing. I don't even know how many fighters are fighting or anything. Let's face it, I have to open Wikipedia to look at this event. I'll have to go to UFC 120 in Wikipedia, and guess what? I'm going to find out all of the results. It takes all the fun away from it. They really need to have a way to have the fights. I used to spend so much time on this app. I was burning through all of the old UFC events. I got through like 5-6 years worth of stuff, and then this changed, and I haven't even gone back to it because it's just such a pain searching for everything. Alright, so theory time. What I think's happened is that the UFC has either licensed or bought some prefab streaming software and applied it to their brand. It would explain why the search results just aren't a good fit. It explains why a fight card doesn't even show you the fights on it. It just links you to another 3-hour file. This theory pretty much explains everything that's going on here. Now the UFC more than likely has their own in-house dev team, or maybe they're paying for dev contractors, but who knows how much push and pull they have when it comes to the core platform. I'm not sure who's at the helm here, but you would imagine that their streaming platform is incredibly paramount to their business, and I'm not sure why there's so many obvious potholes with the update. It's just super amateur. Now I'm going to tweet this video out and I'm going to email the video to UFC support, and hopefully they can pass it to their devs for feedback. A bunch of people actually sent this over to them already and they reckon that that feedback's been taken on board, so who knows. Maybe those playlists for fighters were actually created as a half measure because so many of us reached out. Also just want to say a huge shout out to the user The 90s Rules. He was a ride or die on this stuff. He commented so many times, had a bunch of input. Thank you, mate, and thank you to everybody else who contributed to the last video. So that's it. Hopefully this stuff gets changed because navigating around Fight Pass at the moment is very lackluster. I'm just going to take 2 seconds here and mention I can't believe Tony versus Khabib a 5th time. What's going on? We even had Tony versus Gaethje for like 5 seconds. That got cancelled. I can't wait to see what Fight Island brings us. And you know what? A huge pat on the back to Dana. He seems to be doing everything he possibly can. You just got to fix your game with Fight Pass and I'll be totally happy with everything going on. So yeah, if you notice any more weirdnesses with Fight Pass, then drop it in the comments below. Maybe it's going to get over to the UFC devs and they can fix some of this stuff. Don't forget to Stockton slap that like button and heel hook that submission button to stay up to date with everything going on in the channel here. Thanks for sticking around to the end of the video and I'll catch you on the next one.